What's going on, guys? Welcome to Rex Customs, my channel about building this 1977 Toyota Celica with a 1UZ swap. We'll get into this build in a second. I'm going to start recording and videoing the build of this, as well as I have an 85 Suzuki GS550 building into a cafe, but now it's turning more of a king bagger. We'll get into that at some point too. And we'll also cover my 86 Dodge build too, that's 90% done, maybe more. It's got a ways to go. I got more plans for it. But start off with what's done to this thing. What have I done so far? This was a stock 77 Toyota Celica liftback. I got it rust free from Tennessee about 2 years ago. Haven't really touched it much, but I've done 86 front end swap. Just parts I found, used parts, so I'm gonna have to rebuild it and actually go through and clean it all out, rebuild the coils, fix some of the welds from the swap. And then in the rear, I'm starting to tub it. If you can tell, usually from the factory, they come with a solid axle. I believe the same solid axle that's in the 8086. And I believe some pickup trucks at the time too, but I have a, I don't know if you can see it, custom modified narrowed 6 inches S13 subframe. Making tubs for it to also build the new shock mounts and strut mounts because the factory stuff was not going to work. And then I got a roll bar for this car. If you're interested, A1, oh, what's the company name? I'll put a link for the roll bar in the description, but that's gonna be my starting point for my cage. I'm gonna finish the tub first, and then we'll go on to start building the full, probably gonna do a 10-point cage, but also to tie into the custom subframe mounts I had to make. I'll get a better picture from the side. Kind of see it there. Use 2x4 or 2x3 rectangles, tube, a 1/4 inch wall. As you can tell, I had to cut a good chunk of the floor out to get the subframe in. Had to flip the frame to the inside of the car. It ain't perfect yet, but it's a start. I gotta finish that other tub first before I can start finishing and detailing and getting the interior set. But besides that, this 1UZ is a stock 1UZ. It's an early gen, so it's an 89 to 94. Got it with the car. Thankfully, it's what I wanted to do anyways. I am running currently running a stock ECU, which, if you guys know anything about these 1UZ swaps, it's fairly simple to cut down and cut back the 1UZ harness from any car without the OEM fuse box. Wiring's not done yet. It's roughed in. It was test fired. I'll see if I can link that and get that video in here. It's gonna be a stock build for the most part. I mean, I think this car weighs, let's see, I think curb weight is what, 3,300 pounds with all the interior I pulled, and the solid axle I pulled out is probably close to 2,500 pounds. So with a 1UZ, should be pretty good. And then next year, or once I get this car running and driving, just the stock setup, stock engine with a AR5 trans. Basically, it's the same thing as an R154, a little bit weaker of internals, but it's off of a Chevy Solstice or the new Colorados. Just a cheaper, common 5-speed with the same bolt pattern and everything as an R154. So this build right now is majority a budget build until I get it running. But eventually I'm gonna twin turbo it and throw a supercharger on top of it. So it'll be twin charged because why not? This is my fun build. We're gonna be doing a lot to this thing. I'll get it recorded over time as I build it. First main task is to finish the rear tubs, get the struts made, or the strut mounts made, Get that welded in, then I can drop the subframe out, get you guys a better picture of that subframe. And then we'll jack the car up, almost have it vertical so I can do all the underside, finish all the welding, make it look original. The plan with this car is to keep it looking factory from the outside. I'm gonna tint the windows pretty dark so you can't see inside to see the cage or anything. So when you're just rolling down the street, it looks like any other muscle car, but it's not a muscle car. It's gonna look and sound like a muscle car, but it's gonna be all Japanese. Everything on this car is gonna be Japanese. My first car was a Nissan 240SX. It was an 89. Rebuilt that from the ground up. Frame rails, strut towers, inner fenders. Went through all suspension, put on BC coils, corner balanced it. Just the usual, pretty much basic build on it. But that's where I learned how to start fabricating. And then from there, a little bit of background on me. So a little bit of background on me. Some of you may know me, some of you may not. I'm hoping at some point here, most of you don't know me. But we'll see how people like this build. I haven't seen a whole lot of this on YouTube, especially this car. It's not a huge home garage, custom fab shop, or custom build. It's more of just, nowadays, you go in the car scene, it's just wheels and coils and they call it a build. It's not what I'm trying to do here. My dad taught me stick weld, a little bit of MIG weld, and then I started taking off with it. I enjoyed it. This is what I want to do. I want to be able to build my own cars, make them different, make them custom, and basically put my dreams, my visions into reality. So that's why I first took up welding and started the small shop out in Dousman. We're in Wisconsin here, working on custom hot rods. I learned a lot from them. It wasn't just fabrication, it was electrical diagnosis, setting up a frame table, and just the ins and outs of a smaller custom hot rod shop. That guy I owe a lot to, the owner, his name's Bob. He motivated me to shoot for the stars, essentially. Sure, he gave me some shit work at times, which I kind of expected. I was going in there at 14, 15 years old, and I was green. But seeing what those guys could do that I was working with, working side by side with, motivated me to push my skills and learn on my own and to get where I'm at. So that was my first actual fab job, was working on hot rods for him. Then from there I went to heavy duty diesel mechanics, worked there for a few years, just to learn basic mechanics and also to learn about diesels. So when I built my truck, I had a solid background and a solid information and just idea of how these diesels worked. And then from there, I went to commercial electrician, or industrial electrician, I should say, working on new buildings. So that's where I kind of started to learn some of my electrical background to help me with my wiring jobs and just expand my knowledge. And between then and now, I've had a few smaller jobs, but then I got with this company out in Milwaukee here, Taylor Dynamometer and Power Test. So I'm currently running the head fab at Taylor Dynamometer, building engine and chassis dynos, transitioning over to Sussex right now, the Power Test branch, to be a technical engineer for all of their high performance chassis dynos and their new products to come. So I am surrounded in cars. I love seeing new cars. I love seeing old cars. Cars are my thing. I may not be motivated to be out here every day like some of these other people are, but I'm not trying to build just something that's already been done. I'm trying to go custom with it, different, and I'm trying to make it mine. So that's kind of my background. I'm a fabricator at heart through profession and hobby. So especially hoping this motivates me to get this thing done, because I've been putzing with it for too long. Been sitting in here for a year, hasn't been touched really. And then we'll also get into my custom compounded turbo 12 valve first gen Cummins that I built by hand. It was originally a gas truck. And then once we get my parts back from powder coating and my forks rebuilt on the bike, we'll get you in on that, walk you through that. we'll just bring you along. This is just intended to pretty much be my new form of social media, because I post about cars too much in my personal social media, so this is going to be my new platform to just share what I'm doing, share my skills, share my knowledge. If you guys have any questions, comment, and I'll try and help you out and give you guys tips or have just a conversation with you guys. I am more than willing to share my information, share my knowledge, and basically help anyone I can.